So I've been a CEO a couple times, and the first time I was 33. I'd been in enterprise sales for a couple years. I wrote a business plan, and it was software as a service before its time. Back in 2000, it launched in 2000, just before the first tech bubble burst. I ran it for 6 years. I raised like $26 million of capital, more than I ever meant to raise. That's not a lot of money these days, but back then it was a lot of money. It didn't work. It was a hard fail. I turned the lights off at the end. And I learned a lot from that. And it was a really hard thing professionally because I don't throw in the towel easily. And then I've been a CEO a couple times since then in various places. And so I had a couple of feelings when I got here, and things I'd learned just the hard way over time. And so, a couple of those roll into our culture today, and they're very kind of central to what we do. The first is we have one of our other 7 operating imperatives called bring a point of view. And basically, I tried to do too much the first time I was a CEO. I tried to carry that thing on my shoulders every time. Like we couldn't get, we were in the aerospace industry. It's a long, sad story. It would take me a lot of beers and a lot of tears to tell you about. But it was a market that didn't move fast, and so we just when things weren't going well, I just had to raise more capital basically to try and keep the company moving. And I tried to carry that thing on my shoulders too much, and so. What I learned, and frankly, a woman that was my chief operating officer for the last 2 years there really taught me, Carla Corcoran, was like, when someone brings you something, don't like immediately have a response. And so I learned from her, my response should be, what do you think we should do? Like, hey, Joel, if you bring me a problem, great. But the first thing I'm going to ask you is, what do you think we should do? And what that does is it trains you not to bring me a problem, but know that if you bring me a problem, I'm going to ask you what you think I should do. So what that does is 2 things. Number one is it empowers you a little bit, right? Because you start thinking like, man, if I have an idea, usually I'm going to get listened to, right? 2 is, from my standpoint, it gives me a lot more leverage. Why? Because I don't need to figure every problem out. I just need to ask people what they think we should do. And 90% of the time, what we should do is like a gray area. It's not like a right, wrong answer. It's like, well, we could go this way or that way. And so if I say, well, gosh, I mean, I could really think hard about this, or I could do just what Joel says we should do. What's that do? Well, unless I've seen the movie play out and I know there's this really bad crash and a lot of smoke and blood at the end, we should just let Joel implement his idea. Why? Because he's going to implement it 5 times as hard as if I tell him to do something else, which is usually about what the success rate is how hard it's implemented, right? That's number 1. Number 2, I've empowered him to do something. Number 3, I've given myself some leverage because I don't need to worry about that now. Joel had an idea on how to solve the problem. He's going to solve it now. So I've trained my entire executive team to do that. They've trained their direct reports to do that. It's embedded in our company culture of bring a point of view.